Peace, family. This is Lion Team with another news and commentary. Doing an update of the situation in Chicago. I reported yesterday that 50 people were shot, 8 people were killed, and now the fatality is on the rise. And it reports that at least 10 people were killed. But this is the special report from CBS 2 Chicago. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and I'm going to give you the rest of my commentary.
Go in the crosshairs.
I was cutting grass. I heard 5 shots. And I saw some young guys running back towards where I was cutting grass. Next thing I know, police were everywhere.
Tonight, stories of fear.
50 shots and they act like they didn't even care.
Chaos. And hope.
If we're strong enough as a community, there won't be a lot of shootings like that.
4 neighborhoods under siege this weekend. 12 people killed in the violence. 54 wounded. And so far, no one arrested. An issue so important, we will devote the next several minutes to it with our team of reporters. Let's begin with CBS 2's Dorothy Tucker, who goes inside the police tape where 4 people were shot on South Avers. Dorothy?
Well, according to police, the shootings across the city took place, as you said, in 4 neighborhoods on the south and west side of the city. One of them is North Lawndale. Creative Scott is grateful he wasn't shot on Friday night in North Lawndale.
It was multiple shots, at least about 50 shots. You know, that 50 shots, and they act like they didn't even care.
Multiple shots fired at 1528 Avers, and to the body looks like there's a few people down.
4 people between the ages of 13 and 25 were shot. Scott was here passing out flyers to promote his barbershop when he saw a white car slow down.
Some guys got out, and they started shooting. People fell on the ground and hiding and screaming, dropping phones and cell phones and everything and keys to try to get away from the situation.
When the shooting starts, what did you do?
I'm like trying to see where the threat coming from. I'm definitely upset. Heart beating 100 miles an hour, you know, because I'm upset what's going on in the community.
Scott estimates there were hundreds on the block because 2 hours earlier there had been a peaceful block club party. Sherry Brownlee says the party ended at 10, and she called police shortly after to clear the streets.
I told them it was too much traffic out here, too many people's out here to come clear the street. They never showed up.
Around midnight, Brownlee was in her kitchen when she heard the shots.
People just running and hollering, and it was a bad chaos out here.
Brownlee and others want the chaos to stop.
Somebody seen something. Somebody got something on camera. And I'm telling the people to come out and just turn whoever did this in. Because if they don't turn them in and they know it or they know something, they might as well hit the gun in their hand themselves.
Well, police are also asking for the community's help in reminding people that any information you provide will be confidential. Reporting live from police headquarters, Dorothy Tucker, CBS 2 News. Back to you, Rob.
Okay, Dorothy, thank you. Well, take a look at the neighborhoods under siege from Friday until last night. On Friday night, from 6 until midnight, 3 people were shot, 1 was killed. Saturday, 14 shootings, 3 dead, bringing the total number of people to 17 shot and 4 dead. The most violent day was Sunday. 8 people shot at 1300 West 76th Street. 6 people shot at 1300 South Millard, and 5 people shot at 33 North LeClaire. In all, 49 shootings Sunday alone, 8 dead for a weekend total, and this is hard to believe, 66 shootings. 12 of those victims died. Let's go to CBS 2's Roseanne Tellez in the control room with a look behind the numbers and why this weekend was so bad. Roseanne.
Well, Rob, it may also be tough to believe that overall shootings and murders are actually down in the city this year. But it sure didn't feel that way this past weekend, with the numbers climbing so rapidly. They were tough to follow.
It's not like those people got together and said, we're going to go out here and create chaos. That's not what happened.
So what did lead to so many shootings in 4 Chicago neighborhoods over such a short period this past weekend?
If anything, it should underscore the continuing issue that we have with illegal guns and offenders out on the street that are willing to use them.
Camila Williams is with the anti-violence group Live Free Chicago, activism spurred by loss. 30 of her friends, relatives, and neighbors have been killed in Chicago since 2006.
The young people under me, they're saying, I'm at 10, I'm at 12, I'm at 15. I understand. Losses. Funerals.
She says it's that very trauma that often leads to a desire for revenge and ultimately fuels the cycle of violence.
It all goes back to not learning how to cope with your losses.
Indeed, police know the dynamics well.
I ordered additional deployments of officers in those areas to prevent the retaliatory shootings.
But this past weekend in Chicago, even with 46 arrests for gun charges, the shooting seemed unending.
I know as a city and as a neighborhood, these neighborhoods across the city, we can do better.
The superintendent is pleading with anybody who might have any information about the shooters involved in this weekend's violence to please come forward. Live in the control room, Roseanne Tejas, CBS 2 News. Rob.
Okay, Roseanne, thank you. Well, by comparison, New York City, the nation's largest city, had only one murder and 16 shootings Friday through Sunday. With the police superintendent by his side, a somber Mayor Rahm Emanuel spoke of the victims left behind by the massacres. And he had a tone we've never heard this forcefully in public. CBS 2 political reporter Derek Blakely joins us live from City Hall with more on that story. And he did sound very different today, the mayor did, Derek.
He did, Rob. You know, after a violent weekend, Mayor Emanuel wasn't talking about changing police strategy or employing new technology. Instead, he spoke about morals and values and how the community must solve this problem. But some African Americans say Emanuel crossed a line between inspiration to insult.
If you know who did this, be a neighbor. Speak up.
We've heard that message from Mayor Emanuel before, but we haven't heard this.
There is a shortage of values about what is right, what is wrong, what is acceptable, what is condoned, and what is condemned. We need parents to teach kids right from wrong, to be involved with their kids.
But saying that some blacks lacked morals didn't sit well with activist Westside pastor Ira Ackrey.
It is asinine to have a mayor to get up and talk down to the black community.
And a resident who lives near where the worst Auburn Gresham violence erupted says naming names isn't easy.
If someone do step up and try to talk, things happens to their family and things like that, or something happens to them. And who's going to protect the people who's stepping up to talk?
But Pastor Rashorna Fitzpatrick, whose church lies just steps from where 17-year-old Janae Patterson was killed, largely agrees with Emanuel.
If we would help ourselves do what we're supposed to do morally, then we will become a positive force in our own community.
It's getting to be like that.
And Auburn Gresham resident Robert Cox, who lives nearby where a boy was killed over a stolen bike, also said it's up to the residents.
Black, this is what people got to do. They, people don't care about their own neighborhood. It's not going to stop.
The mayor's aides say he consulted a number of black pastors and community leaders this weekend before making his remarks today, but some of the reaction also shows he is walking a political tightrope. We're live at City Hall. Derek Blakely, CBS 2 News. Rob?
All right, Derek, thank you. Now to a story of hope through the eyes of a barber. CBS 2's Vince Girasoli introduces us to one man surrounded by violence and working to change that.
Not far down the street over the weekend, 2 innocent bystanders were shot, one fatally. But here, just 4 blocks away at a barbershop, one man is trying to make a difference. In Englewood, the buzz today is on the weekend's violence.
They didn't know better than worse. We hear the gunshots, bah, 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 and then go right to our regular conversation because it's the norm.
But Kenneth Clayton, better known as Casey the Barber, knows it's anything but.
We all have to take some type of ownership in this.
For 3 years now, armed with clippers, he's made it his personal mission to offer free haircuts once a month to teens at the Englewood Library.
I just try to give them a whole nother view, a whole nother outlook.
It is also a chance to listen to their problems and fears and encourage them to stay on the straight and narrow.
I couldn't do it by myself.
It is possible to randomly walk through the streets of Englewood.
He's trying to get all the negative and the gun violence and the kids off the street.
And meet families who know Casey, like Lamisha and her 5-year-old son, Caden. Are you afraid for his future?
Yes, very afraid.
That's nervous laughter for her little boy.
I want to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor? Why do you want to be a doctor?
Because they just fix people.
Kind of like KC.
Like I say, give these kids a head start. Some of them don't have fathers. Just because you're not blood don't mean I can't be a role model.
Casey's going to be at the Bud Billiken Parade offering free haircuts to kids in the Kids Corner from 11 to 2. At first glance, you might not think that makes much of a difference. Or does it? In Englewood, Vince Girasoli, CBS 2 News.
Vince, thank you.
Okay, guys, you saw the coverage. Thanks to CBS 2 News Chicago for the coverage of, the situation in Chicago. And a lot of people wanted to know, how can we do to stop the violence? And over the weekend, and like I told y'all, I was very upset and very disappointed in the city of Chicago. How, murders are on the rise up there is just unbelievable. And you see a lot of people lost their lives over there. Now, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and this is why I said that there's got to be a change in the mayor. In my opinion, there's got to be a change with the mayor of Chicago, because Rahm Emanuel, and I hate to say this, but he really didn't do anything for the black community at all. And now, ever since this, since this incident took place, how 77 people total shot, and a lot of people, and Rahm Emanuel had the audacity to get upset and hurt. Where was the sympathy before? When people in Chicago get shot and killed, and it's a lot of people, and that's during Rahm Emanuel's term as mayor, you notice that he didn't have no sympathy, no remorse, nothing. But all of a sudden now, he's getting sympathized and remorseful. Let's move on. It just upsets me with Rahm Emanuel. Let's move on with this. The point I'm seeing is that people in Chicago got to do better. They got to do better than this. It's too much violence going on over there. Now, we heard some conspiracy theories that some police officer was responsible for the murders. And there's proof, there's no evidence of that at all. But at the same time, we got to look at it. What can a black community do as a whole to come together and end the violence? Just like I said in my previous video with this situation, why can't the gangs protect the neighborhood, protect the community, instead of killing each other? This is what I'm talking about. What can a person do? Is that, yes, I got family members in Chicago, and there's people out there is struggling. Some, and like I said, some people didn't have any jobs, don't have any programs. They cut the programs out. So what can anybody do at this moment? And then you talking about illegal guns. Where are these illegal guns come from? Because remember, the state of Illinois has stricter gun laws. So it tells me right there that even though they have stricter gun laws, they can still bring in guns secretly into the city. So, this past weekend is the biggest, I'm telling you, it's the biggest loss ever. And Rahm Emanuel said, see it, say it. And some of the people were right. They said if they snitch, in the hood they call it snitching. If they snitch, then guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna find out who snitched. If they don't get after them, they're gonna get after their families. Because I know how it works. So what can a community do? It's funny that a lot of people want to, tell a community what they can and can't do. And I believe in the city of Chicago, I know it's going to be better than I know this city's better than this. Now, what happened this past weekend was unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. We got to be better than this. We as black people have to be better than this. And all of a sudden, whether gangs kill each other, whether police have something to do with it, whatever, But at the same time, we as a the black community in the city of Chicago have to come together and end this. There's so much stuff going on right now. We ain't got the time to kill each other. Like I said in my previous videos about what happened in Chicago. We got to do better than this. It's so much stuff is happening right now. Look I mean, and I know a lot of white supremacists are laughing because guess what? Oh, they supposed to come together, but how they gonna come together? They killing each other. How they come together when they have guns in their hands ready to kill each other whenever they feel like it? See, look what's going on. It's bad enough that they deal with some people from the Chicago police, and now they dealing with this in this situation. I'm telling you guys, we got to do better. We have to stop the violence. If you want to save the black community, the time is now. The fellow Chicagoans, we believe in you. There's better things out there than this. I know it is. Sometimes we got to believe in ourselves. So, for those of the people in Chicago that lost their loved ones, my thoughts and prayers goes to you guys. But the reality is that we got to do better than this. It's like they laughing at us because they know we ain't strong enough to take on, the system of white supremacy. And they know that. But as a community, we got to do better than this. It's something out there that's got to do better than what's going on over there now. So I hope to the people of Chicago, I'm with you. And hopefully that there's something they can do to calm the violence, to stop the violence. Because right now, we don't want Rahm Emanuel, the mayor, or anybody else telling us what we can and can't do to stop the violence. We can do all that by ourselves. The question is, how? And this is the time now. Because obviously, at the end of the day, we need each other. The people of Chicago need each other. In the black community, we all need each other. And you want to know how to stop the violence? Here's how. Talk, listen. And talk, or at least two, talk and listen. Talk it out instead of shoot it out. That's the only way they can stop the violence. Well, let me think. Tell me what you think about this video. Share this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my reaction channel. And subscribe to my Black Junction channel for all the news and commentary. With that being said, this is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.